Hey everybody, it's Cheryl and welcome back to Technique of the Week. It's week 14 and we are going to talk this week about bleeding tissue paper. This stuff, what can I say? First of all, this is the quilt that I made using the bleeding tissue paper, and I have a couple of important things to talk about before we talk about using the bleeding tissue paper. Number one is I used a fabric which is prepared for dyeing so that it could accept the bleed from the tissue paper. Now, if you've ever gotten some kinds of tissue paper wet, you know that sometimes it can come off on your hands. This is a very messy process. You will get this stuff all over your hands. So what you do is take your prepared for dyeing fabric, lay it out, get it nice and wet, and then in your craft store, you're going to find this bleeding tissue paper. It is called bleeding art tissue, and you can get this either in the art supply store or in your craft store, but this is the stuff that you want to look for. Some regular tissue paper isn't going to bleed, isn't meant to bleed. This stuff really does. So what you'll do is tear off little pieces of the tissue paper and lay it onto your fabric. Now, they're not kidding when they say it's going to bleed, so it's sort of a serendipitous process. It will bleed into the other areas where you may not want it to bleed, and that's just part of how it goes. So if you're trying to get a very specific design, you're probably not going to get it with this particular technique. But let's take a look at the quilt again. I thought I was going to do this nice landscape, and so I put on these little pieces around, and you can notice that my land is mixed with the sky a bit. These were supposed to be, I don't know, flowers or something, and they kind of just bled all over. There were some yellow and orange over here, but you can barely see them. I did find out that if you used more tissue paper in lots of layers, you kind of got a darker color. The other thing that I did with this is I heat set it. So I took my iron to it, got it nice and dry, and then took my iron and really ironed it well so that these colors, whatever is in the fabric, is going to be permanent. And then I took it to the sink and washed it. So this is the colors that I got after the tissue paper had been washed out of the actual fabric. So give it a try. One more technique. What can it hurt? You'll either like it or you won't. So be sure to follow along on my blog at www.muppin.com. You can also subscribe to my channel and get the videos every single week. You can also go on my website and sign up for my newsletter and get a copy of the 52 techniques checklist, and you'll be able to follow along with all the videos as we make them. And thanks, and have a great day.